Ask Father O to
to what will be
pledge allegiance to the flag. As we begin our meeting, I'd like to thank Rotarian Brent Kuzno and acknowledge Browning Kuzno as this month's meeting sponsor. Do we have any visiting Rotarians? If so, please come up to the floor mic. Of course, we know who you are. David? Please come up to the floor mic to introduce your visiting Rotarian. Thank you, David. I appreciate that. Excellent. Thank you, Doe. Do we have any guests? Anybody that wants to introduce a guest? Okay. Okay, so the Outgoing Foundation trustees are. And again, please bear with us as we work through some of these IT issues. All right, again, remember we're Zoom, we're live, and everything in between, so please bear with us. I believe we have past President Chuck Stocking, who is leaving the foundation trustees. We have Gary Murphy, the one and only Gary Murphy. Gary, come on up. Kathy Mikolajczyk, which I don't think Kathy's here either. And then we have Kathy Mikolajczyk, which I don't think Kathy's here either, but maybe she's watching via Zoom. So. And thank you, Mary Mancini. And thank you, Mary Mancini. Okay, so now at this time I'd like to acknowledge our outgoing club board members. Them are here. We have John Romer. Don't believe any of them are here. We have John Romer and Judy Siebenek. Steve Johnson and Judy Siebenek, who actually retired last year and moved to Springfield, Ohio. She was our last last year as a board director, and so last year was the last filled by Janina year as a board director. Thank you, Janina. And her spot will be filled by Janina Douglas. Thank you, Janina, for another year. And now it is my pleasure. To bring up Executive Director Kathy Tate.
Oops, sorry. I'm very graceful, always. So thank you and welcome. It's my pleasure to close out President Alec's year, as it is with every president, and thank him for his service in a very challenging year for all of us on a Rotary level and on a personal level. So he's done a fantastic job, and I'm happy to present him with his gold badge, which is what all past presidents should be wearing, instead of the blue badge, his past president's pen, and his plaque that says, "Thank you, President Alec." We did not put pandemic president on this.
Thank you all. A tip of the cap. I hope I can get through the rest of this. I'd actually like the board, our current board members, anybody here that is on the current board, to please come up. I have a gift for you. Just stand behind. Yes, yes. I just wanted to let you know that it's been a pleasure to serve with all of you this year. As mentioned many, many times, it was a very challenging year. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your participation at the committee levels. Everybody knows that membership engagement starts at the committee levels. So you all did a fantastic job through a global pandemic. So again, thank you very much. Excuse me. I also want to thank the Rotary office, Kathy and Abby. Your guidance throughout the Rotary year is paramount to the success of this office. Through good times, bad times, and perhaps a few ugly ones, you are the glue that keeps us on track, and words cannot explain my appreciation for you both. And finally, and again, I'll say it again, it's been anything but a normal year. I've really appreciated the month of June's live meetings, but more importantly, I've grown to appreciate the 11 months of virtual Rotary meetings. These meetings didn't just happen on their own. There was a team behind the efforts to keep the Rotary Club of Toledo alive and thriving. I would like to thank this team of Kevin Mullen, Travis Tangeman, and Matt Atkins. Please come forward, gentlemen. All the way back. So I, along with the Rotary Club of Toledo, will be presenting each of you with a Paul Harris Fellow for your dedication to service above self. Unless you want to say a few words, you may now sit down.
Okay.
Surely deserved. So now's the time to begin the ceremony. But I have to tell you, I have thoroughly enjoyed my year as president of this club, and I want to thank all of you for your confidence and for giving me the opportunity. I have grown as a person and as a leader, and have you to thank for it. I'll have to tell you that it is definitely time, okay? Last night, I had a nightmare, okay? I woke up about 1:50, sweating because I couldn't find my Rotary script. And it was 2 minutes before the meeting was about to start. So I woke up, calmed myself down, and said, "Phew, glad that was only a nightmare." So it is time. Now I'd like to ask President-elect Bob DiNardo to please come to the podium. Bob, please repeat after me. I, Bob DiNardo, do solemnly pledge
I, Bob DiNardo, do solemnly pledge
that I will faithfully execute the office of the President of the Rotary Club of Toledo,
that I will faithfully execute the office of the President of the Rotary Club of Toledo,
and that I will, to the best of my ability,
and that I will, to the best of my ability,
and that I will at all times
and that I will at all times
uphold the Constitution and bylaws of this club.
uphold the Constitution and bylaws of this club.
Bob, you have been elected to the office of the President of the Rotary Club of Toledo. I thereby declare you and the new directors of the Rotary Club of Toledo. I hereby declare you and the new directors, as I just mentioned before, as duly installed. That's what happens when you read the script. And now, it is time for me to hand you the gavel as a symbol of the transfer of the club's leadership. It is emblematic of your office and an expression of the members' confidence in your leadership. President Bob, please accept that gavel that I just handed you, and
Thank
the
you,
pin
Alex.
and the pin of your office, and my very best wishes for the wonderful year that I know that you will have.
And
Now it says, Alex, go sit down.
thank you, Alex. Thank you, past President Alex. Now we're going to do the director oath of office, so I'm going to need some people to come up here, at least those who are here. Cindy Binkley could not make it today. She's president-elect, so we'll do her via Zoom. Travis, will you come back up here, please? Donna Bogan, Heather Carnes, Steve Miller, and foundation trustees Brent Cousineau, Dean Neese, and past President Dick Wolf. Thank you all for serving. Fellow Rotarians, and I'm going to read the script like Alex, or maybe misread it. Fellow Rotarians, each of you has been elected to the Board of Directors of the Rotary Club of Toledo, a new incoming trustee of the foundation. This is an indication of the esteem and confidence that our members have in all of you, and we do. We also believe that you will uphold the high traditions of our club, that you will give the best to the best of your ability to the furtherance of the interest of our club and foundation, and that you will carry forward the object of Rotary. Please raise your right hand. Will you fulfill the responsibilities of your term to the best of your ability and in accordance with the Constitution of this club? If so, please say, I will. I will. You are now installed members of the Rotary Club of the Toledo Board of Directors and Trustees of the Rotary Club Foundation. hang on. I think I have some pins to go to. Kathy, you may have to help me, but these are for directors. You don't get anything? We don't need it. Thanks anyway. Thanks anyway. Appreciate it. Look forward to serving with you.
Thank you.
Del, I was going to introduce you to tell us about Vietnam, but you already did that. So, what I would like to start with, though, is I would like all the past presidents, including Alex, to stand. All of you guys and gals. Thank you so much for serving. I really appreciate it. You all know what I've got coming up in the next year, so I really appreciate everything you did in the past to get us here. Alex, pretty crazy, what a year. You and Tim, the COVID kids. So can we give them all a round of applause? Thank you. And Kathy Tate, yes, wake up. Please stand. One more time. You can stay right there. Again, thanks to Kathy. We all know she's going to be leaving us in the next about 3 months from now, or maybe less. And I've really appreciated working with you, Kathy. She's tried to prepare me as best she can, and then she's going to abandon me. But thank you so much. Can we all give her a hand? And I want to thank my family. My mom, who couldn't make it, she's 90. I'd like to thank my dad, who has been gone for some time, but yesterday he would have been 96. I'd like to thank my wife, Joanne, of over 40 years. She is actually at her mother's, taking care of her 90-year-old mother, who just got out of the hospital. So it's been a little crazy. And I would also especially like to thank my 4 lovely and talented and wonderful daughters. That would be twins Karen and Rose, and Laura and Diane. And they are all out of town too, so. Thank you anyway. And now, Tom, come on up. You don't have to say anything. Actually, Tom Trumbull, some of you know Tom. He was my original sponsor back in a while ago. Tom and I have known each other since we were maybe 13, when we were freshmen in high school. And Tom and his dad, Jack, who also was a Toledo Rotarian, were my sponsors. And we've been friends a long time, and the reason I don't want him to really say too much is because he knows too much. But on the flip side, I know too much too. So we've got a pact of secrecy. But anyway, Tom is a Rotarian now from Leland, Michigan, and he's still active. And I just wanted you all to meet him and see him again.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
And one more thank you. This one's pretty special. It's to a Toledo Rotarian who kind of made the difference of me becoming more of an active Rotarian. And it was somebody who had asked me. I was a member of the International Service Committee, and I'd been going to meetings a few years. I was fairly interested, and this one member said, well, why don't you go attend a MESA meeting? We always have a Toledo member attending MESA, and I'm kind of tired of going all the time or whatever. He just thought we should have some new blood there. So I started going to the MESA meetings. And most of you, if somebody doesn't know, it's medical equipment and supplies abroad. And we send used and usable medical equipment and educational equipment to places that need them and can use them. So after I'd been going for a while, I started getting a lot more interested in some of the things that the district does, because we had participation from district leaders from all over, past district governors, past presidents, and I found that I got to know people that I never would have known before. And eventually, it turned out they needed a secretary for Mesa, so I forgot to say no. And so I ended up being the Mesa secretary for a while. And pretty soon, they needed a Mesa chairman, and again, I forgot to say no. So I spent 3 years doing that. And during all that time, I did start to get involved and meet people from all over the world, really. I've been to a couple international conferences. I've been to Central America, to Nicaragua, Belize, Costa Rica, Honduras. And all of that started out with somebody from a committee asking me to go attend some Mesa things. And it's amazing how big our organization is. So, Gary Murphy, thank you so much. Can we stand and give him a hand? I owe Murph a famous grouse or two, I think. So on to some of the things that I'm hoping to do this year. The first thing is really we need to replace Kathy Tate. And we have the capable hands of Dick Wolf running our search committee, and it's already active. He's got it under control, and we're going to get Kathy out of here on her timetable. I've got one of the things that is important to me. As you can tell, I have 4 daughters. So the new RI president, Shekhar Mehta, he's from India. I probably butchered his name, but as one of his 3 major initiatives, he has empowering girls. And I've always been about that, obviously. And I think if we look at our board, we now have 4 women on our board. And that's half of our board members. And I think that's more than representative of our club. We also have Cindy Binkley as our president-elect, and I'm really proud that she's going to be taking over. It was time that we got rid of the guys again. I think our only female past president here is Helen, and if you don't know, she was also a past district governor. Our district governor is Mary Oftenkamp, and she's from Oberlin, and she will be here speaking on August 9th, so I hope you can all show up for that. And our district governor-elect is Diana Savage from Bryan, so we are fairly well representative of women, and I think it should be at least half, and we're getting there. As far as meetings and programs, I think another salute to the AV crew. Thank you. You've done a great job. I'd like to continue having some Zoom meetings, and one of the main reasons is because we have to improve on Mary's presentation, I think. But no, we've had some great people. We've had both U.S. senators. We've had Jamie Farr, Christine Brennan, and others. And we wouldn't have gotten a lot of those people if we did not have Zoom meetings. So I'm willing, and I know the last 2 weeks of August, this club will be closed, so we're probably going to have Zoom again, at least for those, and that'll be full Zoom. Another thing that is important with our club is committees. They are kind of the lifeblood of our club. If we didn't have committees, we couldn't give away money with the grants. they do an awful lot of work. And we're going to have a meeting, a short meeting after this with any of the committee chairs and vice chairs with Kathy. And it's kind of a short training session, and you've all gotten some emails already with some of the materials. So we'll go over that. To me, one of the most important committees is the membership engagement, and we're also kind of combining membership development with that this year. And Alex has agreed to help out with that, and I think Tim just did too earlier today. Alex is going to help, and really we've got Maria White and Jill Blackburn as chair and co-chair, and throughout COVID, it's amazing what all they've done. They're just really incredible, and they're very overworked, both with Rotary and their real jobs, and I'm hoping that we can get as much involvement to help them this year as we can. They have come up with so many fun projects and activities, and I think the more that we have fun things that Rotarians are passionate about, the more member development we will have. Because if you do fun things and you do them with good people and you get to engage and build relationships, that's what it's all about, and that's what makes things happen. Have to mention financial. Pay your dues. You've all gotten invoices. We've lost a lot of members. We need the money. We've lost over 100 members, I think, since COVID started. The other thing I think, and I'm kind of preaching to the choir here, but we expect you as Toledo Rotarians to also contribute to our foundation. I think that's an obligation. Maybe you can't afford a whole lot, but you need to put something into our foundation. This past year, I think losing some of those members probably were members that aren't giving to our foundation. And this year, we had a couple big drives with our foundation. We got up to over 75% participation. We haven't done that since I've been a member, I don't think. So congratulations to everybody for that. But 100%, let's get 100%. Want to still work on our transformational projects. We've made some long-term commitments to universal pre-K, lead and water projects. We should kind of keep track of those, see if we're doing what we want to do. Let's see if we're having success or if we need to change. Those have been going on for a while, and sometimes we kind of forget. I do want to mention that as far as water, past President Tim Ryan is now the district environmental chair, and he's working on that quite a bit, and he may want to partner somehow with the district, with our club on some projects. Other than that, I want to thank you again for electing me as the club president, and I'm going to do the best I can with all your help. Thanks. Next week's meeting, July 19th, we will have Jeff Saylor, and as I mentioned before, we're going to have one committee meeting, and as I mentioned before, we're going to have one committee meeting after this. I promise it'll be brief. Vice chairs after this, and I'm going to, it'll be brief, and I'm going to invite Chuck Mann up to give us a little fun story of whatever. I've renewed his contract, by the way. At least I sent it to him. He has not sent me a signed contract back, and I offered to double his salary, too. So, take it away, Chuck.
Thank you, President Bob. Yeah, it's still stuck in legal up on the 32nd floor. I wish they'd finish up with it. Presidential things. Funny thing, or no, observations by past presidents of the United States, and I started to look to see, and it seems like far and away the funniest, natural funniest president of these United States was Ronald Reagan. So here are a few Ronald Reagan quotes. Thomas Jefferson once said, "We should never judge a president by his age, only by his works." And ever since he told me that, I stopped worrying. Recession is when your neighbor loses his job. Depression is when you lose yours. And recovery is when Jimmy Carter loses his. One way to make sure crime doesn't pay would be to let government run it. And before I refuse to take your questions, I have an opening statement. But this story, if you look into it, this is very much the top story that he used to enjoy telling, and I don't know who the author is, but he told it all the time. A man was driving along a rural road one day when he saw a three-legged chicken running down the road. He was amused enough to drive alongside it for a while and noticed the chicken was running at 30 miles an hour. Pretty fast chicken, he thought. I wonder just how fast it can run. So he sped up, and the chicken did too. He was now moving along the road at 45 miles an hour. He sped up, and to the guy's surprise, the chicken was still running ahead of him at 60 miles an hour. Suddenly, the chicken turned off and ran down a long driveway leading to a farmhouse. He followed the chicken to the house and saw a man in the yard with dozens of three-legged chickens. He called out to the farmer, "Hey, how did you get all those three-legged chickens?" The farmer replied, "Well, I breed them. You see, it's my wife and my son living here, and we all like drumsticks. Since a chicken only has two legs, I started breeding this three-legged variety so we could all eat our favorite piece." "That's amazing," the stranger said. "How did they taste?" "Don't rightly know. Ain't been able to catch one yet."
Thank you all for coming, and we are adjourned.
While